Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the launch pad and our live launch coverage of SpaceX Starlink 6-72 set to launch from Slick 40, Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. We are at T minus 4 minutes, 30 seconds and counting till launch. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the launch pad and here at TLP. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together, and we're glad to have you joining us live here tonight. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that like button, share out the stream, invite people to join us. Also, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. We'll do some shout outs here as we sync our clocks with SpaceX. We are at T minus 4 minutes and counting till liftoff. As always, we monitor the weather conditions leading up to the launch, starting normally around that T minus 45-minute mark or so. Wanted to say a big thank you to Paul for your $20 super chat there for the coffee fund. I appreciate that support as always, and thank you to Don Porter for your $2 super chat as well. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. We got Matt watching in Minnesota, Princess is in Canada, Chaz is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We got Lee in Northwest Mississippi, HD's in Southern California, Alan's in Las Vegas, Gail's in Nebraska. We got bowling launch coverage in Little Rock. Welcome. I know there's been some very severe weather across some of the United States, so if you are in those areas, please make sure, even while you're watching, so that you're following along with those weather conditions. You can always watch a launch on a replay. Coming down to T minus 3 minutes and counting till liftoff. Today's Falcon 9 booster is Falcon 9 Booster 1078, going for its 19th flight. This booster previously supported those 19 missions, which were including Crew 6, SES-03B, 3B Empower B, U.S. Space Force 124, Bluebird 1-5, and 14 previous Starlink missions. SpaceX's autonomous drone ship, just read the instructions, is stationed downrange in the Atlantic Ocean, ready to recover today's Falcon 9 booster. On board today are 28 Starlink V2 mini satellites ready to head up to low Earth orbit, continuing to expand that constellation. If for any reason we don't fly tonight, they do have a backup opportunity starting at 10:14 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Today was a 4-hour window running starting at 11:07 p.m. Eastern. So we're targeting basically the beginning of the window, but now that fueling has begun, they are locked in, ready for today's flight. We are listening in to SpaceX Mission Control for updates on how the count is proceeding. As always, if you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging us at the launch pad. We'll work on answering those live. Listening into the countdown clock. Next major milestone will be that T minus 1 minute mark when Falcon 9 takes over the countdown, goes into internal power as well, and begins to pressurize its tanks to flight levels.
Ground gas closeouts.
See that a couple people are saying we got a little bit of lag happening right now. I'm not too sure why we're getting that, but bear with me while we try to make sure that gets resolved. As always, as it's T minus 1 minute and counting.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
And there's that call out for Falcon 9 in startup. You can keep sending in those comments and questions in the chat. We'll work on answering those during the coast phase of the first stage. Waiting for the call out from the launch director.
Launch director, go for launch.
And there's that call out. The LD is officially go. T minus 40 seconds and counting till liftoff of Falcon 9. T minus 30 seconds. You can see some of those vinyl purge vents on the Falcon and the Strongback. L minus 20 seconds. L minus 15
seconds.
And let's listen in to mission control for the final 10 seconds
10,
to count.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engines full power. And liftoff. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
Vehicles pitching downrange. Stage 1, chamber pressure is nominal.
And Falcon 9 has cleared the tower of Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida, carrying more Starlinks to low Earth orbit. T plus 30 seconds into flight. Next milestone will be max Q, or the moment of peak mechanical stress on the vehicle. We'll listen for its call out.
Falcon 9 power and telemetry are nominal. Throttle down.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Throttle up.
Maximum aerodynamic pressure.
And there's that call for max Q. Falcon 9 now continuing past that kind of most risky part of the flight, continuing on now to a big sequence of events, kicking off with MECO, or main engine cutoff or shutdown of those 9 Merlin 1D engines. MECO expected to occur 2 minutes 25 seconds into flight, immediately followed by first and second stage separation.
Engine chill is underway.
SES 1, or second engine start 1, followed by grid fin deploy, and then about 15 seconds later, fairing deployment. That sequence, as I said, about to begin about 35 seconds from now. Following that time, we will, of course, be answering your guys' comments and questions, so you can send those in the chat by taking us at the launch pad, and we'll work on answering those live. Also, once we have confirmation of stage separation, let's start to see those guesses in the chat. The Falcon 9 first stage will continue up to its apogee, which is its highest point in the flight. We always have a little bit of fun guessing how high you think that'll be, so let's see those guesses in the chat once we have stage separation. 10 seconds till beginning of MECO.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
Vac ignition.
And you can see a beautiful view of the Florida Space Coast from that first stage, now continuing with those grid fins deploying. Stand by for fairings.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there, those Starlink satellites now exposed to the vacuum of space for the very first time. Both vehicles are approaching the Kármán line. That's that 100-kilometer designation of space that's internationally recognized. Second stage continuing to pick up speed as the second stage engine burns. The first stage is starting to slow down, but it is still increasing in altitude as it heads to that apogee, that highest point in its flight. We're seeing some guesses come in the chat. Chaz says 116, Lizzie says 117, Kelly 119, K-Texas 121. We got Sojourn 116, Armored Cav 117, Byron 118. Let's see those guesses coming in as we approach the apogee of the first stage, where it'll then begin its journey back down to Earth to the drone ship. Just read the
vehicles are on a nominal
instructions. The entry burn should begin 6 minutes 3 seconds into flight, lasting 25 seconds tonight, and then a landing burn 7 minutes 51 seconds into flight, ending at touchdown on the drone ship right about 8 minutes 15 seconds. Now, SpaceX no longer provides live coverage of payload deployment of Starlinks. We will get to follow along through SECO 1, or the shutdown of the second engine. Then it'll enter a coast phase. The second stage will reignite for a very short 1 second burn at T plus 54 minutes 10 seconds. Once they get into their final deployment orbit, the deployment will occur 1 hour, 5 minutes, 18 seconds. SpaceX will confirm deployment via their social media. Jerry Braun, is it true that max Q is similar to how someone feels hugs is too tightly? Someone says that is very similar idea. It's an idea of if you squeeze too hard, that pressure, if the vehicle is not pressurized and structurally sound enough, it'll just crumple. So that's a really great way of describing it. Thanks for sending that in. Local Marks Fishing, how many Starlink satellites will now be in orbit around the globe, including these? I believe they're over 7,000 now. I'd have to double check on that number. Yeah,
Both vehicles continue to follow a nominal trajectory.
increasing quickly, but they are also beginning to bring down those first early generation Starlinks. Starlink satellites are designed to last about 5 years, so we are starting to see some more Starlinks, disposed of every day. But they are still, of course, launching more than they dispose. There, it looks like Matt said 115 was the winner, as the first stage is now descending down to its entry burn, now below the Kármán line. Second stage traveling now coming up to over 13,000 kilometers an hour, passing 152 kilometers in altitude. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage the like button. It's free to do so, really does help us out. Also, make sure you subscribe so you never miss another live launch coverage. You can see the engine chill on those engines on the first stage in preparation for ignition. Stand by for entry burn.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Entry burn shutdown.
And there's a good call and a visual confirmation of entry burn shutdown. Now keep an eye on the speed on the bottom left corner of your screen. The first stage will pick up a little bit more speed as it free falls, but then using the grid fins,
are on a normal trajectory.
the atmosphere, and
Stage
the
2
booster,
FTS is saved.
the booster itself, Falcon 9 will begin to slow down as it is now plummeting its speed to not be falling as fast. It's a poor way of saying it, but slowing down extremely quickly as it prepares for its landing burn. Taller than usual isn't 5 years pretty short for assuming how expensive they are. So version 1 of Starlinks were $250,000 a satellite. I don't believe we have a cost for the V2 minis. And Starship will be what launches the V3s. I believe the V3s will last a bit longer, but they're also quite a bit larger, so they are far more expensive. But ultimately, they've got millions of people using it, paying for the service as well. So Starlink's amazing. We've used it with TLP in the field, and we'll be using it more in the near future as well. So it's an amazing thing. We've actually broadcasted a Starlink launch from a cruise ship using Starlink, showing cameras that were powered by Starlink. It's an amazing thing we can do now because of Starlink. Standing by for that landing burn.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
Live view from onboard. Just read the instructions.
Landing leg deploy.
Drone ship coming into view. Falcon 9 using those grid fins to steer it. Engine off, and we have touchdown of Falcon 9 booster 1078, completing its 19th flight on a 22-day turnaround. Now we'll wait to see a confirmation of SECO 1 when that engine shuts down and the speed pauses, while Falcon 9's second stage enters a coasting phase in preparation for that second burn and then payload deployment. And there we have confirmation of SECO 1. Second stage now coasting at 27,100 kilometers an hour at an altitude of 137 kilometers. Now that is going to do it for our live launch coverage here tonight. Stay tuned to our social media for photos from our rocket chasers and, of course, the latest space news update. Join us over on the TLP Discord. That's where our community hangs out in between streams. And we look forward to seeing you in the chat of our 24/7 Starbase live coverage with our very own 24/7 cameras as we count down to Flight 9, the first ever reflight of a Starship Super Heavy booster. But for now, from our TLP Canada studio, my name's Zach, and I'll see you next time because space is better together. Good night.